Welcome back. We're talking about fractals and fractegrity and how our thoughts can create these feedback loops, kind of like a fractal pattern playing out in our minds.
Yeah.
Can we talk a little bit more about that? I'm curious about how this can help us make better choices in our lives.
Yeah, the authors of the Declaration of Interdependence say that by becoming aware of these mental patterns, we can start to break free from the ones that might be holding us back, like the negative beliefs and the behavior.
So instead of just reacting to situations based on old patterns, we can use fractegrity to be more intentional with our thoughts and actions.
That's the idea.
It really is empowering to think that we have more control than we realize.
It is.
But how do we actually apply fractegrity in our daily lives?
Yeah.
It all seems a bit abstract.
Well, the book has some interesting ideas.
Okay.
It talks about mindfulness,
Okay.
paying attention to your thoughts, and noticing when you're falling into those negative patterns.
So being more aware of our internal dialogue,
Yes.
the stories we tell ourselves.
And once you're aware of those patterns, you can start to challenge them.
Oh, okay.
Ask yourself, is this belief really true?
Hmm.
Does it help me? Does it align with my values?
And if it doesn't, we can choose to think differently and create a new, more helpful pattern.
Exactly. It's not about suppressing thoughts.
Okay.
It's about noticing them and then choosing how you want to respond.
Gotcha. So fractegrity is about
Cultivating a sense of wholeness and connection.
that lets you act according to your values.
You know, this reminds me of what you said earlier about the Mandelbrot set
Right.
and how those black regions look like outer space.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
the authors are saying there's a connection between the potential within a fractal.
And the potential within us.
That's a great point, and it speaks to the core of fractegrity, that we are all interconnected and that what we do affects others.
Our actions have ripple effects.
Okay, so we've talked about fractals and fractegrity and this idea, interconnectedness, but what does this all mean for the universe as a whole?
That's a big question.
It is.
And the authors don't pretend to have all the answers,
Sure.
but they offer some interesting perspectives.
Well, they point out that we see fractal patterns everywhere in the universe,
Okay.
from tiny atoms to huge galaxies.
So the universe is just one giant fractal.
That's a pretty cool thought.
It is, and it suggests that there might be this one set of rules that governs everything.
From the smallest to the largest.
Oh, that's kind of overwhelming.
I know it makes you feel tiny and significant at the same time.
It does. But the authors say it's not about feeling overwhelmed.
Right.
It's about realizing that even small actions can create change.
It's about feeling empowered.
And it makes me think of that quote by the Dalai Lama that's in the book.
Oh, yeah.
Just as a single pebble dropped into a pond creates ripples that spread outward, so too can individual actions create a ripple effect of positive change.
That's a perfect example of what fractegrity is all about.
Understanding that we are all part of a bigger system.
And our actions matter.
But with all this talk about interconnectedness and ripple effects,
Yeah.
how do we know what actions to take?
Wow.
How do we choose the right pebble to drop in the pond, so to speak?
That's where our values come in. The book says we need to align our actions with what we believe is important.
With our values.
Yeah, fractegrity is not just a concept.
It's a way of life.
Exactly. It's about putting these insights into action.
Okay, so first we become aware of fractal patterns in our own lives.
Right.
What does that actually look like?
It means paying attention to the repeating themes in your thoughts, your behaviors, your relationships.
Okay.
Notice the things that keep happening, the challenges that keep coming up.
So like those repeating patterns in a fractal, but in our own lives.
Yeah, exactly. And once you see those patterns, you can try to understand what they mean.
Like, what are they trying to teach us?
Ask yourself, why are these patterns repeating? What am I supposed to learn from this?
It's like the universe is trying to tell us something.
But we have to learn to see it.
Yeah, to recognize the patterns.
And once we understand the message, we can move on to the next step.
Making conscious choices.
Right.
How do we do that? How do we make choices that go along with fractegrity?
It's about doing things that match your values.
Okay.
So when you see a pattern that you want to change, ask yourself, what choices would reflect my values in this situation?
Okay.
How can I make the world a better place with my actions?
So it's about taking responsibility for our choices
Yes,
and knowing that even small actions can make a difference.
exactly. Fractegrity is about making good choices in every moment,
It's about living with intention,
knowing that what you do matters.
that you have the power to create change.
Okay, so now the final step.
Embracing interconnectedness.
Right.
How do we make that shift from me to we?
It's about recognizing that we are all part of this big web of relationships,
We're not alone.
and that what we do affects other people and what they do affects us.
It's about seeing the world as one.
Beautifully said.
It's about understanding that we're all in this together.
And our actions have consequences for everyone.
This has been such a fascinating conversation. I feel like I'm seeing the world in a whole new way.
Me too.
It's humbling and empowering at the same time.
It is, and as we move on to the final part of our deep dive, I encourage you to think about the fractal patterns in your own life.
Okay.
What are the repeating themes you see?
Mhm.
And what choices can you make to create positive change in your life and in the world around you?